In our previous sessions, we have seen the purpose of program.cs and startup.cs. We have also seen what is model, purpose of model, how to implement model. We have created domain classes for the model. We have provided interfaces for it, and we have implemented these interfaces by creating concrete classes. After doing everything for the interface, we have registered as a service inside startup.cs inside this iService collection. So that's it for the model. Now, what next? The next thing which we have to do is we have to understand what is controller and what is the purpose of controller. Okay, let's see this in this video. So ASP.NET Core use common folders for each of the building blocks. If you observe the structure of the project of our application, that is grocery store application, you can see that there are three folders created, that is controllers, models, and views. And these common folders include the required files which we have to be provided inside each of these folders. Okay. So now what is controller and what is the purpose of controller? Controller is responsible for user interaction. Whenever user clicks on button and request is sent to the server, that request will be picked up by the controller. Suppose there is a button for save. Okay. On click of that save button, what will happen? A request is sent to the server, and that request will be picked up and handled by the controller, right? So what is the controller end responsibility? Controller has end responsibility to create response based on the user interaction. So whatever the user provides input, it takes the request sent to the server, and it is responsible to handle it by creating the response based on the user interaction. Okay, and will be interacting with the model. Controller will be interacting with the model and updating the model in response for user interaction. Okay, but what is the thing here which you have to notice? Controller doesn't need to know how data persistence works, as it is the role of the model to hide these details from the controller. So controller need not know about the data persistence, how it works and all, because it is handled by the model, where it will hide these details from the controller. Right. So what is a simple controller, how it looks like, we will see next. So here you can see a simple controller, that is grocery controller. So here, what is a controller? Controller is nothing but a class that inherits from the base class called as controller. Here you can see the grocery controller is a simple controller which we are creating. This is nothing but a class which extends controller. What is a controller? Controller is the base class which is provided by ASP.NET, right? So from this base class, it inherits, right? Whatever the controller class which we are creating, it inherits from the base class controller. What is the role of controller? Is controller responds to the incoming request, that is method in controller will be invoked when request is received, that is called as action method. Here you can see view result index. This view result is a return type for the index method. So index method is the action, right? Controller is responsible for responding to incoming request, that is method inside the controller. Method inside the controller is the index method. Here will be invoked when request is received, that is called as action method, right? So action will execute and it will return a view. Once this action method is executed, it will return a view, right? Now we will also see how a real sample controller looks like. Here you can observe that a real sample controller we are seeing over here. Just a second. So here you can observe that the grocery controller class is inheriting from the base class, that is controller. So what is happening over here? If you observe, this is a real sample controller. This is how it looks like. Controller here, what is the controller here? The grocery controller is making use of grocery repository which it is receiving using constructor injection, and it is built in ASP.NET Core dependency injection system that is taking care of this. An instance will be injected in the controller automatically, right? See here, what we are going to do here, we are injecting this As part of constructor injection, here from this grocery repository, it is taking, this grocery controller is taking from this grocery repository what the required data, and we are assigning that with a private variable over here. What is this private variable? That is underscore grocery repository is a private variable inside this controller, which is responsible for taking from the interface reference. What is the interface reference? Interface reference here is grocery repository, right? So we are assigning this grocery repository to a private variable inside the controller, right? So what is a list action method? The list action method here you can see this is responsible for executing inside the controller, and this will call a view. So what is the view which will be executed by this list method? List is the action method, right? This is responsible for executing and returning a view. What is the view here? From where it comes from? Here you can see that list action method is returning a view, and this view is receiving data, that is list of groceries by grocery repository. So here underscore grocery repository dot groceries, this will return list of groceries, right? A list of groceries we want to display on our web page, that is a view, and that view is returned by this list action method over here. So view is nothing but a template, that's it, that will receive model data to display the view correctly on the web page. That's it. So view is nothing but a sample template which is responsible for displaying what has to be displayed on the web page. And this list action method over here, which will be executed by this controller, is responsible for returning this kind of view. And this view takes data from which place? That is grocery repository. And this grocery repository contains all the groceries, right? Previously, we have seen the interface iGrocery repository we had created domain classes for it, and we have implemented this iGrocery repository by creating a concrete class that implements this iGrocery repository. We have seen all those, the methods which are returned by that concrete class, right, which implements this iGrocery repository. And this iGrocery repository contains the list of methods, the behavior and the actions and the operations which has to be performed by this grocery controller, right? So this grocery controller makes use of this data, this model data inside this grocery repository, and it will return a view here by making use of this data, and it will display the list of groceries on our web page. That is a complete real sample controller, how it looks like, which we have seen so far now. So that's it about the controller. So we have seen what is a controller and what is the purpose of controller. We have seen a simple controller, how it looks like, and also a real sample controller, how actually it will take and it will inject by making use of constructor injection, and how it will return a view by executing this action method. What is this action method? In this case, in this grocery controller, it is list method. Okay, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and share this video, and kindly subscribe to my channel in order to watch more videos. Click on that bell icon so that you will start receiving notifications whenever I'm uploading a new video.